Welcome to Diary of a High School Grad number 7.
My youth is yours, tripping on skies, sipping waterfalls. My youth is yours, run away now and forever. My youth is yours.
I just filmed my birthday video for my main channel and I love the setup right now that I just wanted to film something else. And what's kind of nice about this series that I'm doing is I always have something to film when I feel like filming, like right now. If you are very confused and have no idea what's going on, I'm reading one of my old diaries. It's a diary that I kept the summer after I graduated high school. Each episode I read you an entry, so I highly recommend going back and watching the old ones so that you know what's up and you're not opening a book in the middle of it highly confused without the intro to everything. I'm not going to rant long because those that are watching know exactly what's going on and just want to listen. June 16th, 2014. I am writing in pink because it's bright, and today it was raining. I started teaching Breck Summer Camp preschoolers, and it was my last day being 18. Maybe I just didn't give myself enough time to process, but it certainly doesn't feel like my time being 18 is up. You know that age feeling when it's around your birthday? The age you're about to turn has this spunk of spontaneity and untouched wonder to it that increases a desire, while the age you just spent a year being begins to feel funny, almost dry and crusted? Yeah. Perhaps I have just found a simple middle ground, or a blow to the head with adult boringness hit me, but whatever it is, this year feels different. Today was the first day of camp. Oh, to be 4 years old again. That sums it up. I am exhausted and it's only been one day. I hope the days don't feel as long as today has been. My head pounds continuously. However, to call this a form of birth control would be faulty, for it doesn't matter how many fits they throw or how many times I must repeat myself or take bathroom trips. It's still worth it when they hug you goodbye or simply say your name and look at you as if you're the best person in the whole wide world. The admiration makes me blush. Aww. There's nothing really to summarize about this. I teach preschoolers at camp every summer. I still do it this summer and I love it. Since this entry was only a page long, I'm going to tie it into the next entry. Oh, okay, so in between the last entry, which was on the 16th, and then the June 18th, right here I have a list. It says my 19th birthday consisted of, wow, this is so millennial of me. So my 19th birthday consisted of 42 Facebook messages and posts, 12 text messages, preschoolers singing happy birthday to me and trying to guess how old I am turning, and clapping 19 claps, which can be tricky. Cheesecake Factory dinner with Grandpa, a hug from as she wished me happy birthday, and much love from all around. I don't remember what the next entry is about, but I have to combine it, otherwise this video would be like a minute long, so we're about to find out. June 18, 2014. Have you ever mindlessly checked your phone after it buzzes and smile as your stomach swoops high and low because it was a message from that one person you wish all your messages were from? And even though you just got back from dinner together, you know she thought of you, probably the entire ride home, and proceeded to message you a thank you for a great night and, of course, for the poem, with 3 exclamation points, meaning she really emphasizes it because she usually uses 2. My first full day of my 19th year was a good one. I love my job more and more each day. I catch myself smiling and laughing so much because of what the 3, 4, and 4-year-olds do and say, it nearly brings tears to my face. I also cannot help but think of my days being right where they are, what I remember, and more recently being able to put myself in my lower school teacher's shoes. What a different world from up here. They remind me so much of when I was their age at Breck. I wonder if I am trying to hold on to it. I always used kids and babysitting specifically as a type of birth control, but summer camp is working in the opposite direction. I want one now. Oh, yes, it's challenging, but I see their cuteness and intentions, dance moves and hugs, and create a new definition for sacrifice. But I am also highly aware that in no way am I ready to be a mom. I still feel sweet and 16. How am I nearly 20? Oh my god, I'm 21 now. Okay, back on track. Today was very wonderful, not just because it was another glorious day at Breck and I got to see Mr. Eustace and Mr. Bell, not to mention when I was walking in from the bench outside as I read Alyssa's text saying my services were suspended due to a high amount of unpaid appointments. Even when my appointment that I always look forward to was canceled, completely out of my control, I still stayed content and had a great but exhausting day. I believe it had to do with choices and where you choose to put your energy. Luis invited me to his house tonight. I looked at the last 3 texts that appeared only to see reference to the night of prom, Lydia, and Molly. I realized I am still hurt and angry, so I stayed home instead. That's okay, because I heard my phone go off and there was this text ever so magical for suddenly making me so happy. It's amazing. They're just words. But here I am writing more words because the ones she wrote me makes me squeal with joy. When did I get so lucky as to having a role model in my life as wonderful as she? Sometimes I get so wrapped up in that thought that I forget all possible conversations and just make it really awkward, but I'm sure she'd beg to differ. We went out for dinner. We sat outside and the wind was so strong a nearby table almost lost $50. I ordered a Caesar salad and she a large pizza. I think now that we're both out of breath, she was eager to have a lot of her curious and random questions answered. I mean, her first words were, "Any good gossip going around your grade?" And when I mentioned nothing but new relationships, she blurted out, Who? I think her filter is gone and it's so great. Although I almost choked when she, out of the blue, asked, "Is straight?" I think she wanted to really talk boys tonight. Not just by that, but opening up with asking if Luis and I were dating, because she saw us together on a date last summer at Lake Harriet, but also because she kept giving advice when it comes to boys and relationships, who she approves of me dating, and also because she began to tell me stories. Times she and her boyfriend of the time were out, or the 2 times she dated her husband, her fear in her late 20s when he got a sleeve tattoo because he drove a Harley and her parents' approval was very important to her, so she cried. This side is new and slightly uncomfortable, but I like it. We are growing closer. She wants me to feel able to talk truly of anything and leading by example of sharing. I do not know how, but we always know how to make the time move too quickly. Before I knew it, it was down to the last 15 minutes and I shifted the conversation slightly because I've been meaning to share something with her for a while. Well, probably since I wrote it. And when I first admired my newly finished draft, part of me wanted to share it, but thought it would be weird. We weren't close, but we were and still are at the same time. Then when I included it in my May program project and Lydia read it asking what or who it's about, telling me I should let Miss read it, I really began to consider it. I see it as a goodbye, for now, gesture, giving her my poem, the one written because of her stories about her relationship with her mother, her snippets of motherly advice and opinions, and of course, how she's managed to surpass my mother's level of care and love these past few months when my mother had my entire life to do so. I told her about it before giving her the folded piece of paper, told her about the 3 other mother-related poems, how it's not my usual style, is it? And how that one conversation we had about moms in her office really caused this poem. Even if an outburst with my mom led up to me writing as an outlet, I could see her hands reach for the paper so eager as I was unintentionally stalling because I was nervous. This was the first piece of my writing, something she always talked so profoundly of, as if she's read it all, that she would see. Like a first impression, and I didn't want her views on my potential as a writer to shift due to one poem. The sun hit an angle of her sunglasses, and I could see through the light to her eyes, reading them as she read line after line, finally getting a glimpse into my world. Her face shifted from time to time. I didn't want to stare. I checked my phone, moved some food around on my plate, drank water, even though I wasn't thirsty. And then I saw a tear trail down her cheek. A few more trickled down, but the sunglasses blocked my view of her eyes. She did not do anything. Didn't wipe them away or say something. Didn't stop reading. Even though the paper shook, and even though I tried not to look, I could see her lips slightly quivering. I knew what part she was at when she began to cry. I know because I watched her eyes follow the paper and I have my writing practically memorized, reading it to myself in my head. I was reading it along with her until the tears streamed down her face, and I went slightly into shock because I realized that there was something there, a chosen word, captured image, or reactivated memory that clicked in her mind. Something triggered her emotions, so raw and refreshing to show. Part of me feels bad for making her cry, when all we were doing was solely gossiping, as she seemed curious about a lot of people she couldn't ask, being a Breck faculty member. Her desire to hear juicy, dirty gossip made her appear so much younger, but still so wise, for here and there, great boy and husband advice would peek through like it always does. But it was all so light, and I go and hand her a simple piece of paper that she couldn't even hold without slightly shaking when she got to the last 2 stanzas. She told me it was very powerful, and thank you for sharing, and how she was looking forward to reading it one day in published form. She told me that she appreciated it, that I shared it with her, and later in her text she said thanks again for a great gathering and of course the poem. And I realized that when I blinked as she finished reading but was still crying, that instead of acting as dead as a doornail, I should have asked if she was okay. Isn't that what you do when someone cries? Especially if you really care about them? But part of me knew she was okay, that perhaps she didn't want to specifically say why she got emotional, what happened between the lines of my poem, that she didn't want to open that door maybe. But I always do this. I think and think about our conversations after we've had them to a point where I begin to fantasize all the various ways it could have happened until I find a phrase or a question seemingly better than the spoken one, and it eats me alive. The should-haves, could-haves, etc. But I think I'm learning that's alright, and there's a reason why I spaced. Last time this happened, I ended up so distraught and mad at myself that I couldn't sleep. I texted her instead to explain, realizing maybe it's not too late. I felt better, and I think everything happens for a reason because what that text explained, what I wish I would have known to tell her in person, still made an impact. As we were heading out, she mentioned how they need to get rid of all the non-perishable food for the move, how a few bags were in her car, and she asked if I wanted them. I didn't want to say yes, but yes! That's what I told her, and before I knew it, I had opened the back of my car and watching 2 huge bags of goodies be put in my car. She told me she had a lot more and that I should stop by her office to pick up the rest sometime soon. And then she hugged me, and I asked when she was leaving. A little over a week, I believe. It's the last Friday in June. And I told her I can't stand to think this is the last time I'd see her. I'm not ready, and she started hugging me like a comforting side one. It shushed me up. Just a little hug, and I felt better. How is that possible? She told me at dinner that she really does see me as a little sister and how much better it is this way because we got to skip all the bickering and teasing that comes along with growing up with a sister. I see her as my family too, and most of my actual family hasn't even made my family list, so she's very special. All I know is that I've never had to say goodbye to someone in my family, inner circle of people whom I love before, and I'm scared and sad and worried. Of course, I know I'd have to say goodbye anyway in August for college, but I always assumed the people I leave wouldn't move, that everything would stay the same, and I'd come home for the holidays and see her sitting in her office like she always does. It's the fact that she's leaving, and I have no idea when I will see her again, if ever, that frightens me the most. Oh, my legs fell asleep. Alright, let's talk about it. As you could tell by all the entries, I became very close to this one faculty member in my high school to a point where I love her like you're supposed to love your mom. She did a lot for me, a lot that I will never be able to fully express. That's all. I don't even know why I felt the need to say that. I thought I had more to explain, but there's no mental health issues in this entry. There's no drama. It felt good. Summer is starting to get really good, you know? Grad party season has ceased. I had my birthday, which was celebrated slightly quietly. Started my job teaching preschoolers at a summer camp. I'm doing my thing. Let's take a peek at what is coming next. The next entry is June 20th. Oh, this is great. It's the night of a huge bonfire with my friends. I think I'm gonna film it right now.